Secretary Jones? Member Cook?
Present.
Member Fawcett? With a 4-0 vote, we have a quorum to conduct the business of the Gary Board of Zoning Appeals.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we do not have any minutes to approve, so we'll move to the continued items. BZA 2024-14.
We have to have a acceptance of agenda first.
Oh,
So moved.
Okay, we will,
it's been moved and second to approve the agenda for today. Roll call.
Vice President Hawkins,
Yes.
Secretary Jones,
Yes, sir.
Member Cook,
Present, yes.
Member Fawcett.
Yes.
They vote of 4-0. We have an acceptance of today's agenda.
Thank you, sir, and we will proceed.
First item is BZA 2024-14, a special use permit for the home daycare, or for a home daycare located at 1121 Whitcomb Street. Oh, you're not on.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and the members of the board. The petition 2024-14 is you may recall, it's a continuation of a couple months ago. And the purpose of this continuation was inadequacy of the materials that they had submitted. And this petition is for a daycare home facility on a property that is located on Whitcomb Street. The staff has reviewed this petition, has met with the petitioner, and informed the petitioner of the needs and the materials that is needed to be evaluated. And to date, there are substantial amount of deficiencies still exist, despite the fact that the staff has informed the petitioner of those deficiencies. And those deficiencies have played a significant role in our decision-making process. And nonetheless, the criteria is clear. The petitioner is not meeting all of the criteria, and in the operation of the facility, however, should not have any impact based on the location of the facility, on the petition, or on the area, and the zoning is not changing since it is a special use and it is permitted as a special use within the neighborhood. And the other factor that is important is adequate utilities. Again, there is no impact of lack of utilities on this particular site. And for access and a potential drop-off and pickup, that is an issue with us and the petition. And the other item that it is important that this petition is may impact the neighborhood, although it is not that significant as a rental property. Our recommendation for this is because of these lack of information, and we understand that the petitioner has tried to submit, however, they are all inadequate at this point. And for that reason, our recommendation is unfavorable to the petition. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
I was going to say, for the record, can you give us a little bit of an explanation as to what the inadequacy was of what was submitted, just so they
Yeah,
can understand?
Yeah, it is in our recommendation, provide a floor plan showing all rooms and sizes, and indoor and outdoor play area. That has not been submitted. To provide information, documentation, starting or stating the number of and ages of the children that they will be held at that location or taken care of in that location. That has not been submitted. Provide the number of staff for the location, for the operation, and that has not been provided. Provide an hours of operation for the facility. That has not been documented or provided. And as a general rule, they have not submitted information as to whether they are going to be actual resident in that location. And in the conversation that the staff has had with the petitioner evidently has stated that they have other facilities that they are currently operating, and there is no evidence that they will be residing in this particular location.
Has this been communicated to the petitioner, these deficiencies?
The staff has met, and the petitioner was informed of the needs of these documents, and were given certain time to submit it. As of July 10, we have not received any information. You have received something?
We received the information. We received the information just before the meeting. She has turned it in, but it was just before the meeting. And she tried to get it in yesterday. It did not work out. But
So you have not had an opportunity to review the information?
it has not been reviewed.
Do we know what they actually submitted? Was it everything that was requested, or just?
Yes, it was everything that was requested.
Okay, so the floor plan, the lease, the proof of that they are living in it, basically everything that
Yeah,
Mr. Ashami just went over.
The lease was turned in on time.
Okay.
But every other item was turned in today.
Okay.
Today.
Yes.
How long has this been before us? How many times?
This is the third time.
And we're just getting the information the day of the meeting?
Yes. But that, I can't.
Petition was filed in May.
They'll call you when you have an opportunity to speak.
The information that Ms. Najina just gave, is that sufficient enough to move the insufficiency, or we have to view it?
We have to review this.
Thank you.
Okay, the petitioner, you may speak.
Hello, how y'all doing? So, we had spoke to, my name is Arnisha Fulton. I am the daycare provider that's trying to open up at 1121 Wickham. We had spoke to the gentleman, we even called him, found his card, we called him. At that point, he didn't have anything in for us to fix. He told us that we had to get with Najina, and we waited patiently to wait for Najina. This information, it was 2 extras that came forth for us a night before. This is July 11th. We had just got that information like a day or so. So it was like 2 things that they had added on to it. And so Najina did view it. She did look over everything, seeing that we crossed our T's with everything that was asked. So I'm just kind of confused because when we left this meeting last month, we did call the gentleman, and he didn't have nothing in place, but he told me I had to wait on Najina. We've been up here. I mean, they make fun of me when they see me 'cause they see I work here, but I have been up here numerous of times, so I can't have my T's crossed and do exactly what I need for me to have. It's frustrating on me, and it's frustrating on you guys as well, because when I come in front of you, you want to make sure I have everything that y'all need. So it's getting a little.
Hectic.
Okay,
And-
so he listed at least 5 items that were insufficient. You mentioned there were 2 added at the last minute.
Yes.
What were those 2 items?
I want to say that it was yes, ma'am.
So the 2 items that she was sent in the email, one was a combination of several questions about the daycare. The number of staff, the number of children that will be served, and the hours. And then the second one was parking, correct?
Yes. And then also, I did get one of the utilities, because this is the house that I have, it's a family house. But I did get the water. I know y'all was concerned about the utilities. I did get the water in my name, in my name. I know that was one of the factors too. And I turned it in to Najina as well.
So do you plan on living in this
Yeah,
facility?
I've been staying there. Yes, I stay in the basement part.
With no water?
It has water, and the water never got cut off. I put it into my name.
Okay.
Everything is still on. I just put it in my name because I know that was one of the factors.
Oh,
Yes, sir. I'm good. Yes.
Councilman, can you turn on your microphone, please?
Can you hear me? Yeah, you hear me now. Okay, let's try this again. You say you're going to be living in the resident.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you the only one that's going to be living there?
Yes.
Okay, is the residence clearly marked exits, and you have smoke detectors and fire extinguishers located?
That wasn't on the checklist, but of course I will have that in place once I meet the state, when the state comes.
Okay, is it a 2-story or 1-story?
It's a, the main level in the basement.
Oh, okay. So all this activity will be upstairs and
Yes, sir.
you'll be downstairs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many bedrooms?
It's 2.
2 bedrooms?
Yes, I have the layout if you want to see it.
You have the floor plan?
Okay.
I tried to make it simple as possible. I went back to art class with it.
I'm just curious about one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You say you're going to be living in the basement. Who's going to occupy upstairs, or will that just be open at nighttime when the kids are not around?
What would be open? The daycare? The daycare is going to be from 6 to 6.
And then you'll be downstairs after 6.
Yes.
Okay. How many kids you said?
We're shooting for 12
And ages?
families, so newborn to 12.
12.
It's really all up to the state, but that's what we're shooting for.
Okay, and you, I understand, at least I thought I heard them say something about outside play area or?
Yes, we have a fenced-in yard, so the kids can't get out. I don't believe in the merry-go-round and the swings because the kids get hurt. So we doing stuff like kickball, baseball, tag, things that we can back to the old school, moving your body, 'cause
Okay, what is the residents around you? How are they occupied or burnt up, or tore up, or what is?
on my right-hand side, it's an alley. It's an alley. And then the other side, somebody is staying in that house. They have children, I think, as well. And across the street, no one stays there. And the house right next, across the street, no one stayed there. But we do have somebody that's right there. But I think she stayed out of town. 'Cause when I spoke to her, she was like, I don't be here as much. I guess she's back and forth. It's a nice street, very nice street.
So there's not abandoned, it's just not occupied, right?
Right.
Okay, do you have locks on the fence to keep people from coming in?
I have locks on the fence right now, but of course I gotta take them off. It won't be able to be no locks on the fence. Once the state hit, that's bye-bye.
Will somebody be outside watching the kids?
Yes, sir. It's
when they
against
out
the
there?
law to leave them outside unattended.
It will be somebody attending.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Want me to turn off the mic?
Yes, please.
Are there any other daycares in that vicinity, ma'am?
They are in the area. That's the west side, so they are in the area. I think they got on the west side, they might have maybe 3 of them in that area. I want to say, maybe
Wait.
2 or 3.
How close?
Oh, we're not close at all. No close at all. That's the first thing I check.
Okay.
Yes,
What
sir.
about clientele? Do you have your clientele lined up already?
I don't have the clientele lined up. My main thing is to get through this safely and get through the state safely before I handle them. I want to make sure everything is good and I'm equipped and I'm ready. So,
What training have you had with this?
for training,
Yes.
I've been doing this for 28 years. I've been dealing with the state for 28 years. I've been in front of the zoning before as well. So I'm very equipped. I have a bachelor's degree in business. And so I love what I do. So I'm very equipped. I got hired at US Steel 6 times and I declined it. Everything, you cool, but this is what God got me. The Lord have me here. So I'm not cuckoo. I know, I love what I do.
Is this the only daycare you have?
No,
Where are your others?
it's in Etna. I'm a Miller girl, they call it. I'm from Miller. So West Side was kind of strange for me, but they, because I was born and raised in Etna.
And the one in Edna is operating,
Yes,
and how many
in good
clients?
standings.
How many clients do you have there?
I have 15 children per house.
How many houses do you have?
I have 3. I've been open since 1997, and I'm not telling my age.
And so this will be your 4th one?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So I'm gonna turn
One
off-
question, these
Yeah.
other houses that you have, who lives in those?
Nobody. Okay, so I'm not telling my age, but when I first opened up my daycares, you could not live in them. That was number 1. When you first got the daycares. Number 2, if you did not live, it was so many rules with the living in the daycare. So this now living inside the daycare, this is all new stuff. This been effective about 16 years now. So, but when I first opened, you could not live in them at all.
So they're all licensed with the
Yes.
city?
with the city and the state of Indiana. I pay my business deposit every month. I mean, every year.
So what made you want to live in this house on Louisiana?
Well, I liked it. To be honest with you, I didn't have to pay anything. I liked it that. I'm getting older, so I don't have that what a lot of young people have. So my living is pretty much taken care of. I didn't want no excess bills over my head, and so I liked it the area because I didn't know nothing about the West Side, but I'm beginning to fall in love with it. I'm not cheating, but I'm beginning to fall in love with the West Side, and it's a great home. A lot of inside the home is newly remodeled, so I love it.
Just one other question.
Yes, sir.
How many kids you say you plan on having at this
Oh,
daycare?
I thought you said how many kids. I'm having none. Oh, I'm like, oh, how many kids at this facility?
Yeah.
Well, our goal is to have 12, but the state, when we hit the state, they might say you only can have 5, or you only can have 7, or you only can have 10. But our goal is that 12 kids.
Okay. When they get ready to take a nap, you got these 2 places for them
Oh,
to nap.
did I give you that? Oh, yeah,
Yes.
the nap room. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Nap is important. Nap is important.
Thank
It's
you.
important for us.
Without telling your age, you plan to live in this basement for the next 20 years?
I don't know. You know, I'm a type of person, I always tell people I want to live forever. And then people look at me like, I want to live forever. So I want to be one of those people 105 and 110. So you live a good life. The Lord said you live long.
To Vice President Hawkins' question, you do understand that as part of if this were to be recommended as part of a requirement for the special use permit, you have to live in that. It has to be used as a residence.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
as long as it's allowed, I mean, as long as you're operating a daycare there, this is with the caveat that it is being actually used as a residence. And the purpose for that is that you will essentially have skin in the game, that you will have ownership of this parcel, so that when your neighbors are upset about if there's if there are traffic issues, if there are parking issues, if there are noise issues, they know they're talking to their neighbor, not a business owner that may or may not care what the neighborhood looks like. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
President, please,
Yes.
Miss Aisha, don't leave. I just want to tell you that the West Side is the best side.
It's good. It's good. I'm telling you. It's really good.
Thank you. Are there any others that wish to speak for or against the petition BZA 2024-14? You can be seated. Is there anyone interested in speaking on BZA 2024-14? Is there anyone that would like to speak on BZA 2024-14? Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
Before a motion is made, I wanted to suggest that we allow the staff to address any of the questions about what is submitted, whether or not they have any concerns about being able to review the information. Obviously, the BZA and the members can make any recommendation that they see fit based on the information that's being presented. But given the fact that we do have a situation in which the information was just presented right before the meeting, and obviously it sounds like there was communication issues potentially between the petitioner and staff, and when those were communicated. All that aside, we're still left with the situation in which staff has originally stated an unfavorable recommendation because of the lack of information. That information has been turned over. Staff, I don't know if you want to present any other final statements to the board.
Yes, Council. Let me just clarify a couple of things. Our staff, city staff, has met with her, and there was a conversation. I do not recall when it was. I recall it was a Monday, maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and all of these items were, she was informed of the necessity of all of these items. The lease agreement is, she has submitted a lease agreement, but there is no evidence of her living there, certainly at the time of the meeting. We typically go through a process of ensuring that there is a lease, a valid lease with supporting documents, water bills, utility bills, other stuff. Those are part of our assessment typically to ensure that the person does actually live there or plans to live there. None of that information has been submitted, at least as of yesterday. That was the latest that we have. We do want to have a lot of these homes are old homes. And a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, that's been a concern for us. We just cannot accommodate 12 children in one 600 or 700 square foot space. It's just not healthy for them. So that is also, that's not part of the law, but that is part of the consideration, as well as the neighborhood conditions and everything else. So we do like to see those additional information. And if you, we would not object to deferral to allow us to review those. And if we have to meet with her again, we do meet with her. As far as her calling us, yes, she did call me, and I did talk to her, and I informed her that our staff will contact her, which she has done, and schedule a meeting, which happened, and she was informed for all of these requested information that I stated to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I think staff raises a very valid point. Having just received much of this information upon which he can base an informed decision on, I would like to make a motion that we move to defer until he has the opportunity to examine the information and give it the thought needed in order to make a justifiable decision.
Mr. President, I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we defer BZA 2024-14 until our next meeting. Roll call, please.
Vice President Hawkins,
Yes.
Secretary Jones,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Fawcett.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the motion to defer BZA 2024-14 has passed.
So be it. BZA 2024-16.
President,
BZA 2024-16 is a special use permit for a home daycare at
I just, excuse me.
Yes.
I just want to ask a question. Is this being passed or just the notion deferred it? Right. Which one is it?
This is a deferral to the next regularly scheduled,
So the deferral will be passed, right?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah, the BZA 2024-14 will now be deferred until the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals on August 8th.
thank you.
The next agenda item is BZA 2024-16, a special use permit for the home daycare at 677 Louisiana Street.
I have the right one. Mr. President, the petition 2024-16 is it's a deferred petition from last time, and the issue on that time was not adequate information, and the petitioner is proposing to establish a daycare home. On that time, the issue was who owns the property and who doesn't. The staff has met with the petitioner. Those issues have been resolved, and the petitioner is the owner and will reside in the property. I am not sure if I should go through the standards, and council, I may need your guide. We have gone through this once, the standards. Do I need to repeat them, or that's since nothing has changed?
Well, I would say it is, given the fact that this is not the first time that this board has heard this. We've gone through the standards,
correct.
and what you're stating is the special use criteria is listed both in our ordinances and in the state code. The 7 criteria have been met.
That's correct.
Okay. The only question I would have is, I'm assuming that this is now a favorable recommendation.
Yeah, yes, I plan to, yes, if we don't have to go through that 7 item, we can go to our recommendation section.
Okay. Outside of the requirement that residency is maintained while the home daycare is in operation, are there any other contingencies that are being recommended by staff with the approval, with the favorable recommendation?
No, there is no conditions, and the staff, again, I want to stress that the petitioner has cooperated with the staff, has met with the staff, and submitted the information that we needed and satisfied all those criterias, and for that reason, staff recommends favorable.
Are there any questions from the board? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to BZA 2024-16?
Is the petitioner here? Is the petitioner here? Come on up. Please state your name.
Jennifer Watkins.
Okay. Now, is there anything, Ms. Watkins, that you'd like to present to the board, having heard the recommendation from staff?
No.
Knowing to quit when you're ahead.
I'm sorry.
I said knowing when to quit when you're ahead. Is that what?
Oh, I said no. I don't
No,
have
I
any
know.
other
I know.
questions.
I'm just joking with you.
That's it? Okay, thank you.
What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I would recommend that we accept staff's recommendation and pass this particular petition. That's BZA 2024-16.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the staff's recommendations for BZA 2024-16. Roll call, please.
Vice President Hawkins,
Yes.
Secretary Jones. Yes. Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Fawcett.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, BZA 2024-16, a special use permit for a home daycare at 677 Louisiana Street has passed with a favorable recommendation, with the only contingency that the individual maintains a residence at the location.
Thank you. Now we'll proceed to the public hearing items, BZA 2024-18.
BZA 2024-18 is for a special use permit for a home daycare at 2339 West 10th Avenue.
Mr. President, I understand the petitioner wanted to be here, and due to technical difficulties connecting on in virtual system, the petitioner cannot attend. We feel that the petitioner should have the opportunity to present herself, and unless we have connections, we are asking for this petition to be deferred to the next meeting, and so she will have an opportunity to present herself.
Thank you. Is there anyone interested in speaking on BZA 2024-18? Any interested in BZA 2024-18? Last call. BZA 2024-18. Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, staff has recommended that we defer, unless I misunderstood what he said, that we defer until such time as the petitioner can be present and present her aspects of the petition.
That's correct. She would like to be here. She has asked to be here and asked to be connected virtually. Unfortunately, our system doesn't allow or cannot at this moment get her connected, and out of the fairness, we thought that should be deferred until she's here.
Then, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion to defer until such time.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to defer BZA 2024-18 until our next meeting. Roll call, please.
Vice President Hawkins,
Yes.
Secretary Jones,
Yes. As you were, yes.
Member Cook,
Yes?
Member Fawcett.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the motion to defer BZA and leave open BZA 2024-18 has passed.
Thank you. BZA 2024-20.
Mr. President, petition 2024-20 is a petition of Gary Donuts Property LLC. The address is 5721 Melton Road, Gary, Indiana. The site is, you may remember, was a former site of Pizza Hut that was on that location, and it is being redeveloped for a Dunkin' Donut facility. And the petition is requesting, or the petitioner is requesting standard development standard variance for several items to accommodate this this development. The site that this facility is located is part of the new Gary Eastlake zoning district or TOD district, and it would, as such, it would require several new standards that has to be adhered to because it is part of the TOD district, and that has added additional requirements for this development, and we have documentation of those requirements as a part of the attachment to our recommendation to you, and I do certainly welcome you to look at it. And staff has done significant amount of work with the petitioner, and the petitioner has cooperated with us and in several meetings to try to address these issues that are particular to this type of development. As far as the standard is concerned, the approval is not injurious to the public health, safety, and morals of the general population, and the petitioner is basically seeking to develop a new or put a new structure on a lot that was previously another restaurant, and that is what the overall concept is. The use of and value of the properties around that is not going to be impacted, and simply because if it is, it's going to be improvement because the Pizza Hut is a vacant structure, and although the petitioner had indicated that they may go ahead and demolish the building fairly soon. And the application of, we have found that the application of the existing or the new East Lake TOD district on this particular lot may be a hardship for this particular property. A good example of that would be under the new zoning district, TOD district, a minimum lot size frontage has to be 160 feet. This property is 100 feet. You cannot change the property. So in that respect, it is a hardship for the property owner. We have discussed this with the petitioner on several staff meetings and discussions and exchange of emails and even plans. And we have found them to be, the petitioner to be very cooperative. Nonetheless, the recommendation is the petitioner, for them to comply with the existing ordinance, would require to get some modification. That is, number one is reduction of lot width from 180 feet to 100. And as a total, it's 8 different categories that we had to discuss with them. Built to zone or built to line is reduce it from 25 to 24. In other words, there is 1 foot reduction in that. And minimum building frontage is also is a requirement from 60% of the building frontage to 28%. And that is another criteria that we are asking for variation. The sidewalk, minimum 6 feet of sidewalk, 15 feet from the frontage. There is when a state changed or modified that area, and they put a new sidewalk there. And that sidewalk is actually at a 14-foot level. It does not make sense for us to go and remove that or ask the petitioner to move the new existing parking, a new existing sidewalk. Signage is also a request that has been made, the size of it, and that is just slightly larger than what is proposed under the East Lake ordinance. And in terms of drive-through, the ordinance does have a screen location requirements, and which these are national chains and national, they have their own sort of a standard, and we think that's not going to match what our ordinance requires, and we don't think that is a very valid for this particular site for them to comply with. Again, having worked with them, they have been very cooperative, and for that reason, we are recommending favorable for this petition with no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Arshami. Any comments?
The one thing I would add is, obviously there's the 8 individual developmental standards variances. So in looking at those, the board, in voting, you would be finding that all 3 of the purpose of standards applies to all 8 of the very individual developmental standard variances. Obviously, staff has recommended that all 8 have been met. That they're and to point out something that staff has already pointed out, this was already a restaurant. Likely what had happened was this restaurant was established as a Pizza Hut a long time ago, and probably before that it was a restaurant. The zoning code had changed at some point, and so these where the restaurant is currently at, these developmental standards variances had been in place. So the fact that they are changing, they just have to get these variances for that. So this is basically the one hurdle that they have to cross in order to finish this development. Just to clarify that all of those standards are being, that the staff has recommended have been met on all 8 of the developmental standard variance requests. So,
Thank you, Mr. Poe. Is there anyone in the audience interested in speaking for or against BZA 2024-20? Mr. Harris?
Hello, good afternoon. Excuse me. All right, there we go. All right, so just wanted to make sure that you understood that it's our staff that we definitely want this project to be able to move forward. We've been working with the Duncan team actually since December and January, an effort to get to this point. So this team has diligently worked hard with us, working hard with our planning consultant in an effort to ensure that we could simultaneously address the Lakefront East development plan that we established and the Miller Transit Development District. And this team has been very patient in an effort to make through and go through all the hurdles and steps necessary to address the variances that are before you. So I just wanted to reiterate that there's a lot of positive momentum on the US 20 corridor for future development, and the success of this project is really going to open the door for a lot of positivity moving forward. So I just wanted to be able to share at least some history about how diligent the Duncan team has worked, and then we look forward for your vote. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Harris.
have a question, Mr. Harris. How soon before the green light is given that you guys would hope to open up?
Good question. So the Duncan team has expressed that, upon approval, they're immediately applying for their demolition permit. They hope to be active by the first or second quarter of next year. So it all depends on the process, right, of being able to get the green light, getting their permits executed, and they can start demolition immediately. And then from that point, construction, they were hoping to be open by the end of the year, this year. But I think we're kind of, the clock's running out in that regard. But definitely the first quarter of 2025 would be the timeline.
Okay, I appreciate that. You'd make a whole lot of police officers happy, I'm sure.
you gotta watch
Well,
that.
a lot of riders too in the morning. So there's been a lot of positive sentiment when it comes to the team. They were actually able to be a part of the ground breaking or the ribbon cutting for the new Miller station, and it's been very positive. And the public has even created social media accounts, or not social media accounts, but social media posts about the excitement of this new restaurant. And I could just assure you that this is just the beginning, because the interest is definitely there. It's coming into my office, and this is going to show the development community a lot of positivity that we're ready and we're open for business.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Cook, it's a lot closer than Lake Station.
It is. That it is.
Is there anyone else interested in speaking for or against BZA 2024-20? Is there anyone interested in speaking for or against BZA 2024-20? Is there anyone interested in speaking for or against BZA 2024-20? Hearing none, I consider the public portion closed. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I recommend that we pass BZA 2024-20, and I make a favorable recommendation, that we accept staff's recommendation.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept staff's recommendation and approve BZA 2024-20. Roll call, please.
Vice President Hawkins,
Yes.
Secretary Jones, Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Fawcett.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, all 8 developmental standard variances requested under BZA 2024-20 have passed with a favorable recommendation. No further action is required. Staff will prepare a notice to the building department that the developmental standard variances have been passed by the BZA.
Thank you, Attorney Pohl. BZA 2024-21.
Mr. President, BZA 2024-21 is a petition filed by Mr. Eugene Zell, located at 9031 Lakeshore Drive, Gary, Indiana, for construction and development of a single-family home on a 40-foot lot. And the property, the current lot is a part of a property that consists of 3 different lots. So this lot, which is the far eastern part of this parcel, is planned to be separated and a new home constructed there. The current condition of the lot is a vacant vacant space, and no building is on it. The standard for this development is that there is sufficient information and sufficient cause for this requested variance, and as the ordinance requires minimum 50-foot lot, and this is 40. However, the ordinance also allows for such use of such lot for construction of new home based on what is in current ordinance and your approval as a BZA. The strict application of what is required for a single-family home, we think it's going to be a hardship, and because there is there are many 40-foot lots in the city that they can be developed, and it would be hard for the city to leave these lots dormant in the city. And this body actually approved another similar sort of petition last session or last month for construction of a residential home. And the granting of this facility does not impact any environmental factors, including flood height, creation of additional threats, or any other environmental hazard to the area. So as far as our recommendation is concerned, is Lot 1 was originally platted as a 40-foot lot, and the other 2 lots next to it, as there has been a house there perhaps for maybe 100 years, and but that is on the Lot 2 and Lot 3. And we have worked with the petitioner for the last 3, 4, 5 months, has been very patient with us and have cooperated with us for development of the site. We find we would like to recommend favorably for the development of this lot as a single-family home and subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the petitioner agrees to grant an easement to the city of Gary, 6-foot easement on the south of the lot to allow for the Lakeshore Drive to be widened on that corner because it is a corner lot that would allow the, for public safety vehicles to easily turn on that corner. And petitioner has no objections to that. There is also the old house or the original house on Lot 2 does have a little bit of encroachment onto Lot 1, which will be developed. And the petitioner has asked that an easement be granted between the two owners of the lots. And attorney, I want to make sure also that you're aware Attorney Paul has also been involved in this, in crafting of this, that easement be granted so the petitioner in meantime can keep a path, a deck, walk in effect, as it is, which is about 1 foot 2 inches, encroaches into Lot 1, and also the canopy encroaches into the Lot 1. Those would be the conditions that whenever that existing house or existing path and canopy is renovated, reconstructed, or rebuilt, that encroachment will cease to exist. I hope I'm clear on this, but I do want to stress that we do want to express our appreciation for the petitioner working with us and being patient with us. I don't know if Attorney Paul wants to add anything for the easement issue.
Yeah, so I would probably have a question for the petitioner and his petitioner's attorney, that they would understand that easement would have to be, as it would be a condition precedent to the granting of the developmental standard variance if it were approved or passed with a favorable recommendation. That would have to be filed to demonstrate that has been done between the two lots, or that those easements were done between those two lots, just so it wasn't an issue where this was granted, that was never filed, and then later on there would be an issue of, well, it was supposed to be, but the city never saw it or never made it part of its record. So with the filing of the developmental standards variance, if granted, we would need that easement to have been filed with the Lake County Recorder's Office and a copy provided to us for our files as well. Do you guys understand that?
Richard Anderson, 9211 Broadway. I represent Mr. Gene Zell, who's sitting back there. Yes.
Okay.
And then basically, once, if it's granted, and then we would go ahead and prepare those and then get copies to staff, and that would complete the process.
Perfect. Other than that, this is, given the fact that this is only one developmental standards variance that's subject to our ordinance section 123 155A. This is essentially just the permission to build on a lot smaller than what is designated for this zoning area, so that one request, we're calling it a developmental standards variance because essentially it's required that we approve this, but it's just BZA approval as listed in our ordinance, but that section, or that this particular request meets all of these standards. So I just want you guys to have that in your minds, that it is, that there exists good and sufficient cause for the requested variance. In this situation, it's a lot that they want to obviously develop that's right next to the lot that they already own. There's number 2 is the strict application of the terms of this division will constitute an exceptional hardship for the applicant. The lot is seemingly worthless if you can't develop anything on it. And that the strict application result in preventing of the owner's development of the land. Number 3, that the granting of the requested variance will not increase flood heights, create additional threats to public safety, cause additional public excess, create nuisances, cause fraud or victimization of public, or conflict with the existing laws or ordinances. So that's essentially the criteria that you're voting on. Those 3 that would apply to this request. So just to clarify.
So this is a 40-foot lot.
What is the official size on this lot? It's roughly 40 feet.
39, yeah, it's 40 feet at the lakeshore side, which would be the lakeside.
40 feet.
Yeah.
And what about the rear?
Rear is 24.3.
I'm sorry?
24.3.
So it's kind of a pie shape.
Pie shape.
Is what you're
And
saying.
it does meet the requirements of that section that Attorney Poe was talking about with regard to the structure that you're going to build on there has to fit the requirements of the statute. And when you look at the drawing of this, which I can show you if you want to see it.
I would like to see it.
Okay.
And I guess,
It's likely in your packet.
Actually,
no. This is different size. My next question is, to what degree, if any, does Vigo Street become impacted? Because that would be the street that would continue onto the lake with access.
The street, Vigo Street is not gonna get impacted, it's still gonna be there, and they will meet all of their setback requirements.
Vigo Street is to the east of it, right?
That's correct.
And it's not going to be impacted at all?
No, still, it is not a paved street, it is unimproved, and, but it will stay as an unimproved street.
I know, but I mean, it still would grant folks access to the beach. If
That's
that-
correct,
Yeah,
that is correct.
Yeah,
that will not be impacted.
Yeah, the development is solely within the lot lines and solely with the what's being proposed here. And mind you, they still have to get permits for the building department. They have to just in this process, in order to even get a permit, they have to get approval of the BZA based on what they're submitting here. What they've submitted here demonstrates that they're within the developmental standards of that area as of this time. I think this is R1, or is this R2?
R2.
R2. So yeah, this would fit the requirements within the R2, the zoning category. So, given the fact that essentially what you're approving is just the one part of our ordinance that says if you're building on something that's less than the 50-foot or the 59 feet requirement,
one? Okay.
if as long as it's a lot of record at the time that this was passed, which this has been a lot of record for a very, very long time, they have to come before the BZA, and the BZA has to approve their plans to develop.
I see. So all setbacks required would be met?
That's correct.
I have a question. The photocopy of the GIS map vaguely indicates that there are paths going to the beach.
That's
Coming-
Vigo Street, yes. That is, Vigo Street right away continues to the east of this property, or the
Okay.
lot 1. And that's a public access.
Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Oh, one more question. Hang on.
Yes. I don't think so behind you.
Councilman, can you turn your microphone on so we can hear your question, please?
Turning it, okay, I was just saying this was a two-story, would it be blocking, but my colleague told me something else. Thank you.
Does the petitioner, do you have anything else that you'd like to provide to the board as far as any statements, any other information you'd like to provide?
No, as long as you understand that we have met all the ordinance provides that if you have a platted lot, as Attorney Post said, that basically you have to meet all these requirements that are listed in your ordinance, and the plan that we have submitted to you does that. And everybody said that, but I just want to make it clear that we're not going outside of what your ordinance says, but as part of that ordinance, it's your job as the BZA to review it and make sure that we did it.
Are there any other questions? Is it,
I do, as just as a point of information for me. As I look at this and see how the lot is angled, how is that associated with Vigo Street? Is Vigo Street, does it go into this narrow part? I'm just trying to understand, or is Vigo Street one straight shot past this, which would be,
I believe if you're looking at it, there's the key at the bottom that shows the north, where it's, what direction is north. Vigo Street runs north and south, so if you're holding it straight up, it looks like it's angled up to what would be the northeast, the northeast. Vigo Street runs parallel with what that would be.
so my question is, if you were to look at this right here and sit this over there, you would still have a pie piece of land right here. Would that be part of Vigo Street?
Well, I think at that point right there, Vigo Street essentially is a walking path. I think Vigo Street, it pretty much ends with the alley that is Lakeshore Drive, and then if I'm not mistaken, it's basically walking path from Lakeshore Drive north. So this is all walking path. They're not encroaching on city property. The Vigo Street is a city public easement.
My
They're-
question is this, if you were to drop a perpendicular down, what happens to that sliver of land right there?
That's
Vigo
still
Street.
city property,
That's
or
city-
it's
so
public
on up to his
public right of way.
property line, that's city property. So it is on an angle.
Vigo Street is on an angle.
Yes.
This is an actual survey of it, which shows
So it is on an angle and it's abutting your
Yes.
property at the narrowest end. Okay,
Vigo
that
has
answers-
the same angle as the edge of this lot.
Yeah, that answers the question. Okay.
is there anyone else interested in speaking on BZA 2024-21? Any others interested in speaking on BZA 2024-21? Is anyone interested in speaking on BZA 2024-21? Hearing none, Attorney Poe?
Yes, we do have what has been submitted to the BZA as a couple of letters from the public in response to the public notices that went out. I believe there are, we have two letters that have been submitted in response to BZA 2022 or 2024-21. Let's see. Those are from a Mr. Jim Winters. If it pleases the board, I believe they're in your packet. I'll just quickly read through it. Jim Winters writes, "I strongly urge you and the City Board of Gary Zoning Board of Appeals to reject/deny this request for BZA 2024-21. Owners petitioner Eugene Zell and Meredith Zell request for the improvement of Lot 1 of the applicant's property with the lot key, the lot number listed, with a single-family detached dwelling. I have serious concerns with the proposed construction based on the public safety, increased traffic and parking congestion both during construction and ongoing, which will obstruct egress for North Vigo Street residents whose only exit from this dead end intersection or dead end section of Vigo Street is a very narrow lakeshore drive near the proposed new development. Negatively affect continued public access to the beach from the path on Vigo Street easement that runs near Lot 1, and adversely affect the current picturesque dunes setting we enjoy in our small burg in Gary. Potentially will lead to yet another short-term rental in our neighborhood and devalue my home and properties nearby on Vigo Street while diminishing my enjoyment of living in the city or living in Gary. I feel the proposed improvement plan does not adequately address concerns on public safety, ongoing resident parking, and doubt the owner or the current owner or any future owners will adequately protect our right to access to the beach on a relocated path. I say this not only because I have seen people's best interests quickly fade many times in my life, but because the Zell's past failed attempt to vacate and take ownership of the Vigo Street easement and attach the land to Lot 1 to make it built, which would have been denied all access to the beach on Vigo Street. My full-time residence, which I own, is located at 1200 North Vigo Street, approximately 100 feet directly to the south of the property in question. I have lived at the address since 2010. In addition, I own 1147 North Vigo Street, 1206 North Vigo Street, all within 250 feet of the property. Under your review of the variance, please note I was never directly notified by this letter of this pending hearing. I found out when I was walking the city easement path and saw the small notice sign having been placed near vegetation on the property. It easily could have been missed by residents who might have concerns about the proposed variance being granted. And looking at the Gary redevelopment frequently asked questions section marked public notices for planning and zoning changes, who do I need to send certified mailers to? It seems that the required sending letters to property owners within 400 feet. I never received such mailer and am concerned that others within this 400 area will also 400 foot also will also have not and were not aware of their voice to voice their concerns on this matter. That's James Winters. Next, there's a letter from Yuri L. Hoffman. It just says, as a neighbor, this would be a concern. A request is being made for a home to be built, and how long it will, or how it will impact our access to both the beach and leaving our dead-end street with both construction and traffic ongoing, with new neighbors trying to park cars around that area. Please do not grant the variance. So those are the two notices that we've received, or the responses we've received from the public on the request. As it pertains to the public notice, I believe for variances it's 150 feet. It's 100. Yeah, it's 100 feet. The 400 feet applies to that is for the zoning sorry, not a variance, but a rezone and special use permit. I cannot recall off the top of my head. Yeah, planning commissions are still 400, but the BZAs are 100 feet. Other than that, I don't know if staff or the petitioner wants to respond to the statements that were made, but I think that might be appropriate. Gotta press the.
Richard Anderson again. Basically, with regard to the access to the beach isn't changing. It's the unimproved Vigo Street. So when they talk about that access, Mr. Zell has lived in these three lots for 34 years. So he's been a Gary resident for 34 years. So we're not talking about somebody who just showed up yesterday. And basically, this particular request is different in that your ordinance provides that because we had the platted lot, as Attorney Pohl said, that if we meet the requirements that were 5 back as far as setbacks from the property, that basically this is something that the board should consider, usually favorably. In addition, You know, this is another improvement to the area and the city of Gary. One house is not going to create any more traffic, you know, as a result of one house being built there. As part of this, if he's worried about the alley, which we all call Lakeshore Drive, is basically now there's going to be an extra 6 feet for a turn that's being granted as part of this proposed project. So that's a benefit to what's being done here. So basically, we would ask that you approve it.
Are there any plans to make this an Airbnb?
No. I think Mr. Zell's too old for that. No offense.
There were issues that were raised about parking. What is the parking situation that is being proposed at the for the development?
Well, there's parking behind the house. At least I was looking at that today because of the easement granting, and depending on how you look at that, you can either get 2 cars or 3 cars if you park one the opposite way, which would be east-west, but you can get 2 north-south because there's quite a bit of depth. You have to have on the back side of the property, if I recall, was the 30-foot setback. So because of that, there's plenty of driveway to put car, in addition to the garage.
He owns the property.
He does. Yes.
I've got one question. I just want to know if my room would be available when it's fixed up.
Probably not.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The public portion is now closed. What is the board's pleasure?
I'm just a scribe today.
Given the fact that staff has recommended that we approve this, I'd like to make the motion to approve BZA 20 dash, I'm sorry, that's another commissioner from another board. Yes.
You move
I
it.
second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the staff's favorable recommendation for BZA 2024-21. Roll call, please.
Just to clarify, there are there any, there are conditions precedent to this. So is the motion to pass with the conditions that the petitioner agrees to grant the 6-foot easement to the city of Gary for future widening of the alley at the north of the property to allow the movement of public safety vehicles, and then also that the petitioner agrees to an easement to lot 1 for the future encroachment of the wood deck that's currently there and the wall and canopy onto lot 1, all of which would be removed in the event of construction or reconstruction or renovation of the existing structure on lot 2 and lot 3.
Thank you, Attorney Poe. Yes, I'd like to amend it to include what the caveats were for the approval of this.
Perfect. Thank you.
I second that.
Roll call.
No, we can go ahead and vote.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Vice President Hawkins,
Yes.
Secretary Jones,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Fawcett.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the developmental standards variance for BZA 2024-21 to build on the lot there at 9031 Lakeshore Drive, subject to the conditions precedent listed previously, has passed.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Poe. Lastly, gentlemen, I will direct your attention to a advertisement or brochure in your packet. There's a training opportunity that's going to be held this fall yet. Sign up has already started. You want to take a look at that in hopes that you will be able to partake of the training. Are there, okay, we'll make sure that you get, okay, you can actually have mine. Are there any other comments from the board? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second it.
Thank you, gentlemen.